What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So, the New York Giants, the New York Jets, we have some updates to Metlife Stadium coming, and I'm pretty excited for them. I hope this kind of clears up a lot of the heckling, if you want to call it that the Jets have been getting in regards to a lot of the injuries that it seems like teams have been suffering since at least the last 3 years or so. Go back to like 2019 ish, somewhere in that range, and just a multitude of injuries. So to catch you guys up to speed, since about 2019, 2020 was probably one of the rougher years for us. Not only just the New York Giants, not only just the New York Jets, but there's been multiple teams, as you know, we play a long season, that have come in, and we've seen a couple games where there's been a multitude of injuries, or at least just injuries to key players. And that's bound to happen, but they seem to be directed towards the quality of the turf on the field. And we don't play on natural grass as other teams do. We're one of the many that play on artificial turf. It's just more convenient for all the rigor and the things that are going on within the stadium, which is a very good point to start and highlight with. A lot of people have to remember we're not building these stadiums purely for football, and we're only getting that a handful of months out of the year. The stadium still needs to be able to try to recoup a lot of that money from investments, etc. They're going to seek that via other avenues. I mean, generally speaking, from what I looked up and off the top of my head, I mean, we're talking WrestleMania events at MetLife, Supercross. So, for the people that's into the motocross sports, things like that, that's huge there. You see how it's very easy to see a dirt bike ripping up a lot of turf and things like that, let alone all the movement that is going to be created trying to get a WrestleMania stage up and all this kind of stuff, right? You're talking concert tours, all the crazy theatrics and special effects and things that go on during these concert events. It's a lot of wear and tear. So they did inform us, about every 3 to 4 years, and MetLife put out a statement on this. They go in, they make sure they update their turf, things are pristine, and we've seen these reports come out at various points, so it's definitely backed up. Um, and then also another kind of point in the argument is that the NFLPA, or at least the NFL anyways, they are going to put out the report at the end of 2022 officially, but for the data that they've collected and things so far, they've been going back at least since 2018 or so. 2019, I believe, was really one of the roughest years, and the best argument for teams saying that artificial turf may not be great. But then 2020, 2021 happened, and then 2022, and it seems like things have regressed to the mean. So, we didn't really get a chance to see all the full data and stuff again that released at the end of this year. But basically, they determined that there's not a difference. It seems like maybe there was an outlier season, but there's no correlation in anything they researched that strictly says it's better to have natural grass versus artificial or synthetic turf. So it's good to hear that if the data stands, true, the reports come out, there's nothing fishy with it, etc. And then keep in mind that the New York Jets have been one of the teams that have been hit the hardest with this. And when you look at things from a grand scheme, there's 13 other teams that also play on artificial turf. And we're talking teams that are generally, going to the playoffs, high profile teams. We're not talking about bottom of the basement dwellers that people generally wouldn't take a second glance at. I mean, the Vikings, the Saints, the Patriots, of course. We're talking the Bills, Cowboys. We're talking pretty big teams here. So I think that's a huge part of it as well. And then, these other teams aren't the only ones that are suffering. You take a look at the injuries the New York Giants have suffered. They've also been one of the most heavily impacted teams in terms of injury the last few years. The New York Jets, it's well recorded how bad our injuries have been hit. You even take a look at this season alone and how many tackles we've had that have gone down. Corey Davis and the leg injuries, that there's a lot to it, but I don't think it's necessarily based on turf. There's a lot of other research going on, people being predisposed to certain injury types. The Athletic Health and Performance Department actually had a pretty good article I remember from a few years back. If I could find it, I'll put it in the description for you guys. But They did some research on mobility of the body and all of these different things, what people are predisposed to based on their body type and how they've been training and all of these different things, the foods they're bringing in, how they're going about their recovery. It was pretty interesting stuff. Um, but regardless, I mean, I don't think that's a huge impact. And two of the most well-known teams that have caused some issues to flare up were the 2020 incident. The 49ers had back-to-back games against the Giants and the Jets. They ended up having like 5 injuries over the span of those 2 games. I'm pretty sure there's a few more, but 5 key injuries. And then, of course, Bosa went down, Solomon Thomas went down, and they were out for the year. And then you take a look at the Ravens this year, and they had Kyle Fuller that went down with the season ending, I want to say ACL. Um, but yeah, regardless, it's nice to know that steps are being taken in the right direction. I'll be curious to see if the NFLPA actually wins their argument in some shape, form, fashion. If that evidence comes out and it's legit, it kind of shuts down their case. But if they can get natural grass on the field, then that'll be interesting to see. I don't know how that'll work with upkeep and everything. And really it's going to benefit the players, I think, more from a mental standpoint than anything else. I can only remember playing, throughout college and, setting up, city scrimmages and stuff. You can feel less of an impact definitely on natural grass than the artificial turf, but I wouldn't say it's extremely noticeably different, for whatever that's worth. But we shall see. So yeah, 2023 new turf is coming in. Apparently they're checking out a couple new vendors and stuff like that. We currently use Field Turf, and what they provided. We'll see if these new vendors have something maybe more and improved. Again, it's been a handful of years since we last updated it, and you know how technology and stuff gets these days. So every 6 months you can have something that somebody calls game changing. So we'll see. But I think it's a good renovation, not only for the stadium, but hopefully for the players, give them a little bit of peace of mind, that we are always looking to keep their health and best intentions at the forefront. And the New York Jets have always heavily invested in trying to do all the things for the Jets. I mean, we're talking the turf now. We're talking the athletic health and performance department staff. We have 2 training facilities. I think we have 4 like full size practice fields, if I remember. Might be 2 full size practice fields, but multiple practice fields for them to go on that are regulation size. We had those investments in the I want to call them VR headsets, but basically it was some kind of training simulation module that was supposed to help speed up things, instead of just having to go from talking about something in the classroom and reproducing it on the field. This gave them a little extra mental work there. So yeah, it's been a lot over the years. Crazy training staff, all of that good stuff. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I don't know where you fall in the argument in terms of how important the turf for these players are, but hey, slow week for us, right? Coming off a bye week, and we're just kind of wrapping back up into the press conferences and everything. So either way, let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll catch you again. Peace.